HarperCollins presents The Summer Villa by Melissa Hill, read by Penelope Rawlins. Prologue. It was just a little white lie, a way to kickstart her freedom, and Kim Weston was now officially a runaway. She couldn't help but laugh at the idea as she stared out the window of the aeroplane into the abyss around her. 30 years old, an adult, and here she was, running away from home. She'd boarded a flight from JFK earlier and watched as the sky turned from pale blue to black. They were already 6 hours into a 9-hour journey, and she was tired, but couldn't sleep. There wasn't a star to be seen. No way to discriminate the ocean below from the sky above. Nothing but emptiness. Ironic, because it was exactly how Kim felt inside. She had no reason to, or so everyone told her. She had everything. The luxurious Manhattan apartment, a personal driver to take her wherever she wanted to go, generous expense accounts at all the best Fifth Avenue stores, and a black Amex to service every last one of her spending needs. She and her friends were the creme de la creme of New York's Upper East Side society set, and partied with celebrities and VIPs alike. By all accounts, she had the quintessential dream life. So why was she running away? She could still hear her parents' voices in her head and her own guilt in her heart as she sat quietly nursing a vodka and orange juice. Most of the cabin's passengers were asleep, and the crew were moving around less frequently. But Kim's mind simply wouldn't quit. For once, she wasn't playing the role she'd been allotted. If she was expected to assume her part in the Weston family script for the rest of her life, then she needed a chance to play the rebel, even if only briefly. Everything was planned to ensure that her parents wouldn't find her. At least, not for a little while. Her destination, and certainly choice of accommodation, wasn't somewhere Peter or Gloria would ever think to look for her, since it was so far removed from the kind of places the Westons usually frequented. No 5-star luxury hotel suite awaiting Kim when she arrived. Instead, she was staying at a tumble-down villa she'd found on the internet, where she'd be sharing living space and possibly even a room with other guests. She shuddered involuntarily. Kim was roughing it, inasmuch as someone like her could. The house had no on-site staff. Apparently there was someone who'd come by daily to tidy and meet and greet, but that was it. No concierge, butler, in-house chef, nothing. For once, she was going to have to cater for herself, in more ways than one. That gave her some sense of unease. She wasn't exactly Martha Stewart, which was why she also planned to maybe enlist herself in an Italian cookery class, as suggested by the booking site she'd used. Failing that, she'd just survive on pizza and pasta. It was Italy, after all. And she could afford that much. For a little while, at least. It was early afternoon when the flight landed at Naples airport, and the transfer service she'd arranged, her final luxury, she wasn't going to rough it entirely after a transatlantic economy flight, picked her up outside the terminal.
Signorina Weston?
The driver, holding the sign with her name on it, queried as she approached. That's me.
Buongiorno. Right this way.
The young Italian man instructed as he directed Kim to a waiting black Mercedes. She stepped outside of the terminal, her long, slender legs clad in white jeans, which complemented her hot pink poncho. Sunglasses protected her eyes from the bright sun, but she still held a hand to her forehead to shield them as she stared up at an almost cloudless Italian blue sky.
I am Alfeo.
The driver introduced himself as they walked, taking her luggage along with him.
How was your flight?
Long, she answered. She was bone-tired, a little cranky, and not particularly in the mood for small talk. Alfeo nodded and opened the car door for her.
The journey will take just over an hour and a half, depending on traffic. But we can stop along the way if you need anything.
That's fine, Kim replied, as she slid into the back seat and tipped her head against the leather headrest.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?